Hello, and welcome to Akron in Action, a City of Akron series where we will be giving you a behind-the-scenes look into your local government. My name is Alexis King, and I will be your host. Today, I have with me Mayor Shammas Malik and Youth Opportunity Strategist Denico Buckley-Knight. Do you guys want to take a second to introduce yourselves?
Sure. Mayor Shammas Malik, been doing this job the last year and a half. Before that was on city council. Before that was a city lawyer, born and raised in Akron, the youngest mayor in 200 years of the city's history, the first mayor of color, half Irish, half Pakistani. One of the reasons we wanted to do this is so that we can reach more and more people, right? We do social media. Alexis is our digital media manager for the city. We have a great newsletter that I'm really proud of, that our whole team works on. But this is one more way that we wanted to reach folks, particularly younger folks.
Awesome. Thank you. Denico?
Thank you. So I'm Denico Buckley-Knight. I am the Youth Opportunity Strategist for the City of Akron. I've been in this role for 3 years. I'm also a father of 4. I have 3 boys and 1 girl. And I'm also a football coach at Akron East High School. I'm the guy that gets cussed out when we lose. So I'm the guy that calls the plays on offense.
You get cussed out a lot, or?
About 3 or 4 times a year. And I'm also a lifelong Akronite, born and raised, and love our city and our community.
Awesome. Thank you both. So it's August, which means it's officially back to school season, which is kind of crazy.
Right.
And while the city of Akron is not directly involved in the public school system here, we do have our Growing Together pillar as part of our Together for Akron plan. And that includes an objective centered around student success and youth opportunity. So, Mayor, I'm wondering if you could just tell us a little bit about why student success and youth opportunity were areas that you wanted this administration to focus on.
Sure. I think one of the biggest things that I've heard for years from folks is, particularly when you talk about Akron, young people growing up in Akron often want to go somewhere else. And often it's because of safety, often it's because of opportunity, right? And so, you're right, we don't run our public school system, but my whole thing is that we should support everywhere else, right? So we have a huge role when it comes to the schools, the community learning centers outside of school hours. We have the opportunity to help program them. Denico has done an amazing job over the last several years standing up this new organization, Youth Success Summit, which is designed to help all the nonprofits that serve young people in our community create opportunities for young people. And then we're working on the whole range, but from pre-K all the way to when folks are becoming adults, and making sure they have opportunities for work, making sure they have opportunities with whether it's post-secondary, and there's so many facets to it. But the biggest thing is that we want folks to have opportunity, and we think that'll kind of give them the best chance to choose Akron, to live and to grow a family like we're all doing. But also because it helps with safety, it helps with everything. If you have real opportunity, right? If you have something positive to do with your time, where you're going to learn skills, you're going to learn the value of hard work, you're going to learn how to process your emotions, all those things. For me, it's how do we help in those third spaces when they're not at work, when they're not at school, and they're not at home.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. And that's a really good segue right into my next question for Denico, and Mayor, please feel free to chime in. So I'm hoping that you could tell me some of the ways that the city is helping to provide opportunities for youth to directly get involved in.
Yeah, so we're doing a number of different strategies to focus on intentionally around the youth and young adults. One of the biggest things is, as Mary mentioned, we really wanted to have a strategy around when our youth and young adults spend time out of school as opposed to in school. The data shows that our youth and young adults spend more time in the out of school space as opposed to in school. Yet we have this really robust system that works really well while they're in school. And there's a huge opportunity to create a really robust system in that out of school time space. So, one of the things that we've done is partner with Youth Success Summit, which is a nonprofit organization that was created to support our nonprofit youth serving organizations. It's something that has never happened in our community. We've never had an organization that supports nonprofit organizations, but we're really intentional on those pillars. One of the pillars is around arts and enrichment. We know that our arts and enrichment community does amazing work with our youth and young adults in the out of school time space. So really just enhancing that area. Another area is around college and career readiness. So making sure that youth and young adults who are of age have a work opportunity. And then the last piece is near and dear to me. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a football coach. So I know that the impact of sports and wellness is huge in our community. So we really have an intentional focus on that out of school time space. And we really found a lot of success in that because the teenagers felt like it was for them, and the space was created to make sure that they have fun and they're safe.
We just had the last Friday, this past Friday, and I was over at Joy Park. We had dozens of kids, and I made a couple shots on the basketball court, but I was dumb enough to wear my dress shoes, so my feet hurt a
Got to
lot.
keep tennis shoes in your car.
But we've had, over 100 kids at Ed
Yes.
Davis Community Center these last few weeks. And, part of it for me is we always have events going on at all of our community centers, but particularly Ed Davis and now the new Patterson Park Community Center in North Hill. Like, these are brand new community centers
Yes.
paid for with taxpayer dollars, right? And it was federal taxpayer dollars, but it's still taxpayer money. It's still, and so it belongs to everybody. So we were trying to figure out cool ways that we can really, get people to use this because it's really their space.
Yeah.
We want to feel like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, and I think not even too. I mean, like it's obviously great to provide fun for these kids too. But I'm wondering if you guys could touch on a little bit of this is also a violence prevention strategy as well. So you talk to a little bit to kind of that side of it.
Yeah, so as a way to prevent violence, we know that if you give youth and young adults opportunities, then it is a strategy to prevent violence. So the Connect at the Rec was really an opportunity to give our teenagers a space that was welcoming, and we not only created a space that was welcoming for them, but we also had a lot of wins. There was a number of organizations who came and was the keynote speakers, and they had an opportunity to, really pour into our teenagers. And the message from folks like Willie McGee is, second to none. So we definitely want to continue to do things where, from a prevention standpoint, we are opening up spaces. And then another area that I would say how it prevents violence is, we also had our police department at both locations. And they weren't there to police. They were there to have fun with the teenagers, engage with the teenagers, establish a relationship with those teenagers, which always becomes vital when, you're talking about preventing violence.
And where you understand somebody as more than just a badge or a title or a uniform.
Yeah.
But I think also just, young people are going to gather, they need to be social, but we want to help as much as we can create, safe spaces to do that in,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
and with, the prevalence of guns out there on the street, like the spaces that people gather are not always safe, right? Or spaces that might have been safe 10 years or 20 years ago are not, right?
Yeah.
And so as we work to improve that, how can we help where we can? We're not going to program stuff at 3 a.m,
Correct.
but how can we do it where we can?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that teens are a space too that tend to be a little bit forgotten about, right? Like there's a lot of elementary programming. There isn't always tons of programming for teens. So I think providing spaces specifically for teens to come it's so vital, right? And it's filling a hole that is so needed, right? And it's, I think, much wider than a lot of folks really think.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the grants and about City Fest? Because I think that's another piece of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we talked about in the out of school time space, we have created a third area that we really wanted to be intentional and focus on, and that's around sports and wellness. And a number of community organizations who uses sports and wellness as a way to prevent violence express some of the areas of opportunity to grow. And one of the things that they talked about was the lack of funding and grants that are really intentional on the sports and wellness community. So in partnership with Mayor Malik and with City Council, we were able to carve out $100,000 in grant funding. And we awarded 49 organizations with a grant that focuses on violence intervention and prevention. And it was super cool too, because of those 49 organizations, maybe 9 or 10 of them were partners of the city, meaning they were, engaged in doing work in collaboration with the city. The other 30 plus organizations, this is kind of like a brand new opportunity for them. So being able to give them funding for grants, but also, as a way of creating a relationship with these organizations who serve thousands of kids, we've found a lot of positive impact. And we look forward to working with Mayor and working with Council for other opportunities to support our sports and wellness community.
And I think, it's we want to do more, right? $100,000 is an investment, but we want to do more, and we want to kind of work as we go forward on trying to figure out that revenue stream. But I think part of it, a lot of this speaks to the way we're trying to bridge safety, right?
Yes,
There's
absolutely.
the way in which law enforcement does the kind of the traditional nuts and bolts work of safety, right? And then we're trying to layer on top of that kind of community-based programming that can help kind of do prevention and intervention. We have, I'm sure we'll talk about another time, but the street team pilot program that's really geared towards the at-risk youth.
Absolutely.
But we also need to just start as early as possible.
Yes.
Right. And just, and so I think to me, it's really cool to see it come to life it's like there's a lot of different layers to this, levels to it.
Yeah, so Mayor had to kind of mention, and then again, great segue into my next question.
It's almost like I've seen the question.
Maybe, who knows? So, Denico, can you tell us a little bit about our third annual Akron City Festival is coming up? So, what is that? Where is it? When is it? All that good stuff.
And Denico's going to be humble, but he did this. He created this. In the words of Drake, this did not exist before.
This did not exist. So, along those lines, a couple of years ago when I took this role on, one of the things that I noticed was our young adults had this bad rap about they're not doing, positive things in the community. They're always carrying guns. And, in the space that I'm in, 90+% of the kids, young adults in our community are doing amazing work. But unfortunately, we often highlight the less than 10% that is doing, things that we don't necessarily want them to do and doesn't reflect our community as a whole. So we wanted to kind of change that narrative, and we created 3 years ago an event called the Akron City Festival. The goal was to really identify our community-based organizations who are really serving our youth in that out-of-school time space, and we wanted to invite them to be a part of the festival. And one of the things that they did is they all are marching in the parade, and that shows unity. That shows, that we are all committed to our future leaders, and that is the theme, celebrating our future leaders. So a parade kicks off down South Main, which again is another reason why we wanted to do it downtown. Often our young adults doesn't have a space downtown that feels as welcoming. So we wanted to create a space where they are highlighted downtown. They are marching with pride down South Main Street. And then at the end of the parade, we have a festival. And we are working in partnership with Akron Public Schools this year, with Downtown Akron Partnership, with Nightlife Entertainment. And we are basically creating a festival that will have a magic show, a fashion show, a talent show. We're going to have food vendors. We're going to have info vendors. We're going to have inflatables, bouncy houses, gaming trucks. And it really is just an opportunity to highlight our future leaders downtown, because as I mentioned, often we get this bad rap of our young adults aren't doing amazing work, when the truth is they are doing amazing work. So this year will be our third annual Akron City Festival. Our goal is to have 1,200 youth participate in the parade, followed by the festival. We have about 12 food trucks that's going to be participating as well. And from a community standpoint, all of our food trucks are committed to providing each of the kids who march in the parade with a $5 meal. So we are excited about this year's event, in partnership with a number of different folks, but we appreciate Mayor and his commitment to making Akron City Festival a success again this year.
Yeah.
And it's the Saturday before Labor Day?
Yep.
Sunday,
Sunday.
August 31st.
Yep, August 31st. And what time is the parade?
The parade will kick off at 1 p.m. prompt. But the festival begins at 12 noon. So from 12 noon to 6 p.m. with the parade kickoff at 1 p.m.
Awesome. And that's downtown, down at Lock 3?
Yes, they're going to start at Spaghetti Warehouse and they're going to end at Lock 3. Currently, we have over 50 community-based organizations who have committed. We also have Akron Public Schools Fine Arts Department, so we're going to have some bands and we're going to have some drum lines participating. We're also going to have Akron Public Schools Athletic Department, so a couple of our middle school and high school teams are going to be participating, and our APS Junior ROTC program will also be a part of the event.
Cool. Yeah. And if y'all haven't checked out Lock 3, right? Like it is a
It's
beautiful,
amazing.
beautiful space. So that is really exciting. I'm so excited to see. I mean, it sounds like it's already shaping up to be an incredible event. So I hope folks will be able to make it down for that.
And it really caps, a whole summer of exciting stuff at Lab 3
Absolutely.
and this new space that you said, right? This is again taxpayer funded. This is public space and it's meant to be world-class space that belongs to everybody. And so, if you haven't yet been, come down for City Fest, come down for something else, but make sure you check it out because
Yeah.
it really, we want folks to get that message out that this space is for them. There's Wi-Fi down there. There's,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
you can go there for a quiet walk or you can go there for a big festival.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we really also, lastly, we want to make sure that this is kind of like the kickoff to our new school year. We've had an amazing summer, and now we are kicking off the school year with this festival, focusing on our future leaders. So
Awesome. Thank you so much. So we've talked a lot about kind of what the city is doing, and then even what some local organizations are doing at a grassroots level. So if a resident was listening to this podcast and they're feeling particularly inspired and they would like to get involved with this work, how can they do that?
I would say Youth Success Summit, they can volunteer to be a mentor. I've done mentorship and I think it's really valuable. You think you're helping somebody else. You get so much out of it
absolutely,
too.
you really do.
And then City Fest and anything you want to add?
Yeah, so we're still taking parade participants. So if you're interested, we're going to be taking applications through Friday. You can reach out. My contact number is 330-217-9647. And if you're interested, I will give you an email that gives you logistics as it relates to how to sign up your organization, what's going to happen the day of the event, where you're going to set up at. But also, we are always willing to arrange time to meet with you. So if there's an opportunity that you would like for me to come to you, or we can meet in the community, feel free to give me a text, and I would love to meet and talk a little bit more about some of the projects that I'm involved with.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. And then for any youth who are listening, right, what is a piece of advice that you would give them about getting involved?
Just say find the thing that you really love and find somebody who's working on that and get involved, right? One of the beautiful things about Akron is that everybody is like a half a degree away from each other, right? So
Yeah.
none of us are hard to get a hold of. I might be even easier to get a hold of than Denico. Maybe it's hard to compete, but we want to plug people in, and so I benefit from that, right? There's so many people who have been willing to sit down and have coffee with me and have said, hey, here's something that you might be able to work on, and so whatever that is, and often I would say especially for high school kids, you look at these elementary school kids. They don't look up to adults. They look up to high school kids, right? And so there's so much, even mentorship, in that age is important. So, yeah.
And I would just add, our young adults, especially, you guys are amazing. You guys are awesome. You guys are the world changers. So we are opening up and allowing you guys to be a part of this space and place. We don't want to be the people that are always making the decisions for you all. We want you all to be a part of the decision-making process. So feel free to reach out. I always joke and say, I'm blessed to be a part of this team on behalf of Mayor. But I work for you as youth and young adults. So we are ready to activate you all in the game. You guys are amazing. So, feel free to reach out to me because there's a space for you all.
Yep.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you. So we're kind of wrapping up our conversation here. So I've got a little bit of a fun question to end on. So Denico, as you mentioned, you are a father to several incredible kiddos, and Mayor, you are very soon to be first-time father later this year, which is incredibly exciting. But where would either of you say is the best place to take your kids in Akron? Do you have a favorite park, a favorite basketball court, a museum? I know this is a hard one.
I already had the question beforehand. So.
So Akron is awesome, right? I'll give you two 2 to 3 places.
It has to be in Akron, don't
Yeah, I'm going to keep it in Akron. The Akron Zoo is awesome. It's a hidden gem. We love to go to the Akron Zoo as a family. We've had a membership for a couple of years now. So that's kind of like our hangout spot. We also love the Firestone Park Community Center. The water splash, the splash pad is really awesome. We find ourselves there a couple of times a week. So if I had to make a choice, I would say, the Akron Zoo and our Firestone Park Community Center.
I'd add, really thinking back now as, Alice's due date's in early November, thinking to like a lot of my childhood. And so, I'm really excited to take our little girl, hopefully over to Hardesty Park, to the Arts Expo and some of those big events, but also just walk around the little trail there and the playground. The Valley View Park in the valley and off of Cuyahoga Street. That's where we got married. And, this was a golf course that is now, this beautiful open space. And, it's I say it's like Akron's Yosemite, and people laugh at me. It's like, it's as nice as any national park. And there's this beautiful place right along the river. And then the third place I'd say is the Rubber Ducks. Like growing up, I think I was like 4 when Canal Park opened. And, my mom used to love taking us there. And I always have this memory. One time she was like she was like religiously focused on the game. Like she didn't miss like a pitch. And she was always like, you got to watch what's happening. You got to watch. And it was back before they had all the netting. And one day somebody hits this line drive and she literally just reaches out her face in front of my head and catches this ball with her bare hand. And I still have the ball. I think it's in the office, but so I'm trying to like relive all those memories. So
the Rubber Ducks, I would have to add that that's definitely a nice place to take your family, especially when they have the fireworks at the end of the night. But I'm going to change my answer. The Akron City Festival is the best place to take your kid. There's bouncing houses, gaming trucks, food, info vendors. We're going to have a magic show, a talent show, a fashion show, and the theme is celebrating our future leaders.
Incredible. So we love a good shameless plug.
Bring your daughter to the Akron City Fest.
Akron City Fest, hopefully 2026. But really, like, can we just talk for a second, not to take away the shine, but like how many amazing festivals Akron has, right? Absolutely. So Pride, this probably is going to come out after Pride's happened, but Pride Fest brings tens of thousands of people downtown. Porch Rocker is next weekend. That might be my answer. Marathon Day is one of the best days in the city. So, the city really comes to life with some of these events that we have. Yeah. But none more important than Akron City Fest, the
31st.
Sunday the 31st. Main Street, be there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I think that all speaks to like Akron is such a great place for families, right? I've got an almost 2-year-old and I feel like I can take her to any of these things, right? Like we take her to Porch Rocker, we take her to Pride, we take her to the zoo, we take her to the Children's Museum, right? Like there is so much that is available for families. And I think that's really special. Stuff available for everybody, right? But it is nice, as young families to be able to have things to do and want to raise your kids here. So, awesome. Well, thank you both so much for chatting with me. This has been a really enjoyable conversation. I really, really appreciate it. So if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe so you will be notified when our next episode drops. And hopefully we will see you next time. Thanks.
Hi, folks. Thanks for tuning in to the first episode of our Akron in Action podcast. We're going to be taking folks behind the scenes each month with city government, showing you the hard work that's being done by folks all across our city government. We hope you'll follow along and learn about the amazing work that's being done here at City Hall and all throughout our community.